Last question, real quick. Some have speculated,
You're a lying dog.
that you are subject to some degree of cognitive decline. I'm 65. I don't have word recollection that I used to have. I forget my train of thought from time to time. You got 12 years on me, sir. Have you been tested for some degree of cognitive decline?
I've been tested, and I'm constantly tested. Look.
Okay, so he said he's constantly tested for cognitive decline. Let's just take a listen to that again.
Cognitive decline.
I've been tested, and I'm constantly tested. Look.
He's constantly tested, for cognitive decline. Okay? So, let's take a look at some cognitive decline that he is constantly being tested for.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were. Anyway.
It wasn't a joke to think you were at the place that you used to work at, presumably 40 years ago when you were a very young man. And you could see the look of horror on his face when he said something that he himself was not in control of saying. He's like flashing back to himself 4 decades earlier, and when he caught himself saying it, you can see this look of horror on his face, which I will pause.
Welcome to Kingswood Community Center.
I mean, look at that face. He's horrified at what he said. He can't believe that what he said, and he does not look like a man with a sharp mind. Now, I'm saying that Biden had a sharp mind, whether good or evil. He was very sharp, very capable speaker. But look at him. He is not that now. Okay? He said he's constantly being looked at for cognitive decline. Constantly. One more time.
Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were. Anyway.
It's a joke, really? Okay, so if it's a joke, then why do you look like this when you realized what you had said? Okay? Let's move on. Okay? Here is him making similar mistakes again.
Do you think the president all of a sudden decided not to go to Tallahassee because he thought it was the interest of the public? He decided... Jacksonville.
Okay, so now he doesn't not only know where he is and thinks that where he is someplace he was at 40 years earlier, not yesterday, 40 years earlier. He doesn't know where the Republican convention is being held, which you would think a candidate would know something like that. Okay, we're moving on. All right, look at this guy's face here as he sees the cognitive decline and is horrified by it. Okay. Take a look and take a listen.
There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
That took him a very long time to make one sentence. Look at Anderson Cooper. He can't believe it. Look at the guy in the middle. He cannot believe it either. They are mortified at his cognitive decline. You can see it on their faces, okay? Now here he is doing an interview about the president, not the president's wife, and yet she speaks half the time, and he's having the same problem again, and every time he does, she kind of flinches and looks at them, and she says, oh yes, you're doing good, I agree, in the middle of him not making sense, to cover for him not making sense. Watch her do it, and watch him do it again.
And we really are. And we gotta. It's just, but you gotta. I mean, we gotta reassure. Look, here, my message to everybody I talk to is we're going to get through this.
I hope you do. Okay, moving on. Here's some more.
Tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday, and I want to thank you all.
Okay, it's been called Super Tuesday for about 20 years. Okay, that's it. Super Tuesday, Super Tuesday, Super Tuesday. That's what it's been called at every presidential election for the last 20 years at least. And now he thinks it's Super Thursday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? 150 million people have been killed since 2007.
Okay, so he's talking about gun control and some regulation since 2007, that 150 million Americans have been killed since 2007. That's half of the American population. He thinks half of the American population has been killed since 2007.
When Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability, it would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
Okay, he's talking about putting 720 million women back into the workforce. 720 million women. Okay, that's about double the entire population of America. He's going to make those unemployed women employed again. He's going to put 720 million women back into the workforce in America when our entire population is half of that. And we're moving on.
Nobody should be in jail for a nonviolent crime.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
He's a candidate for the United States Senate. No, I think that was, 20, 30 years ago. Now he's candidate for the presidency. And yet he just said he's a candidate for the United States Senate. Moving on.
What's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it?
And he's in New Hampshire.
A
Okay.
neat town.
Moving
Play the
on.
radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night.
The record player. Again, we're going back in time in his mind. He thinks he's where he was 40 years ago as a boy. He thinks that people have record players. You see this? He's like going back in time. Okay.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
Choosing truth over facts. Okay. I'm sure there's a distinction in there somewhere.
Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Yeah, I do know the thing. All men and women are created equal. Everybody knows that. It's the most repeated part of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. But it's something you hear all the time in grade school. All men and women are created equal. Okay, but he can't remember that simple word equal. We say it all the time. All men and women are created equal.
We choose truth over facts. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Yeah, it's all men and women are created equal. And she's, the newscaster about this is just, totally dumbfounded like everyone else should be. Okay? Here he is saying some more strange things.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
I learned about roaches, and I learned about kids jumping on my lap. Okay, roaches and children. I'm not sure what they have to do in common there.